In this week's episode of Working with Productivity, it's all about keys to productivity. Hello and welcome to this episode of Working with Productivity, and today's special guest is Richmond Nash, and Richmond has put together a fantastic video on the essential keys to productivity. And as I was reviewing the video, it was fascinating how brilliantly that Richmond has actually been able to break down the essential parts of what it's going to be, or what it's going to take for you to be ultra and super productive. And this video is entitled The Essential Keys to Productivity, and Richmond focuses on value and time. It is fantastically put together, and the way that Richmond describes it, I think anybody could understand exactly where he's coming from, because essentially you have to make a decision on what is going to give you the most value. Now, I don't want to spoil Richmond's video and I honestly don't think I could explain it any better than Richmond can anyway. So I'm going to let him take over now and show you how to work out the essential keys to productivity. So over to you, Richmond.
Hello everyone, my name is Richmond. My website is called Keeping Things in Line because that's what I focus on, helping you stay organized and productive in your life. So we're going to start, of course we're talking about working with productivity. When you think of productivity, what comes to mind initially? Most times you talk to somebody about productivity, they're thinking of the tools, the methods, right? Productivity means I need to have Evernote, or I need to have Todoist, or I need a bullet journal. Those are wonderful tools. I utilize Evernote and Todoist as essential aspect to my productivity. Very true. My wife loves the bullet journal. She does excellent utilizing that for her productivity. But is that where we start? Think about this. Productivity starts with what? Time. That's what we're all trying to manage. We have 24 hours, 7 days a week. Everyone across the board. It doesn't matter if they're rich, middle class, poor. We're all trying to manage 24 hours, 7 days a week. And think about this when it comes to time. 6 to 8 hours of that time is spent sleep, you see. So how much time do we have to get things done? So when we're thinking about time, what we're trying to produce is value within the set amount of time that we have. That's where we start, even before we get to the tools and the methods and the systems. You see, time and value, that's what we're trying to find. So today we're going to talk about some aspects of time management, okay? Because this is a key to productivity, is managing our time. That's where we start, and finding that value. So when it comes to time management, what are we thinking about? Priorities, goals, focus on those goals. How much time are we going to spend on each aspect of those priorities and goals? That's where you get the value. You see, if I have a priority to complete a project, if I can complete that project before its deadline, that's valuable, because now I can start on something else. I'm ahead of the game, you see. I produce value in that particular project. That's what we're talking about. But you know, there's something that we need to focus on when it comes to time management. What is that? First of all, when you're thinking about the tools that you're going to use for your productivity, how valuable is that tool? We're not thinking about how shiny and how new it is, or that we can do all these different things with this tool. You could lose value because you're wasting time. Even with Evernote, I love Evernote, but if I spend so much time figuring out my notebooks and how many notebooks I'm gonna have and tags, and I'm gonna tag this that way and this way and that way, how much value is there in that? If I come up with a simple system that I can utilize that helps me get things done, see, I've cut down on the time and I've increased the value of what I just did. That's the key. Another thing we have to focus in on is distractions. This is a big issue when it comes to time because we only have so much time. You see, it's blocked off 24 hours, okay? So when it comes to distractions, what's our biggest distraction, do you think? It's our smartphones. See, we're constantly in contact with people. They can text us, they can tweet us, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, so many different ways for people to get in contact with us. Think about years back. If someone needed to get in contact with you, what did they have to do? They had to call either your house or your office. Or if you had a beeper, they could contact your beeper. But they could not get in direct contact with you unless you were available. That's the same thing we have to do with our smartphones. See, what I like to do is I block off time. I call it being in the lab. That's what I call it. That time is very valuable to me because I have a set amount of things that I need to get done. No one can contact me within that time unless it's someone that's very important to me for that amount of time, like maybe my wife. She may be the only one that can contact me during that time. But outside of that, all my notifications are off and my phone is face down. Okay, because my time, I'm trying to find the value in what I'm doing during that particular time. And if I can cut down on the amount of time it takes me to do that project or that task, I've just increased the value of what I just did. That's a key to productivity. Also, if you think of it this way, you think of it in an office. Let's say you have a project and you're in your office. You're sitting down and you have to focus on what you need to do. How would you feel if someone walked into your door every 5 minutes, or if you had a phone call every 30 seconds? Would you be able to get done what you need to get done? No. So what would you do? You would hire a secretary. See, all the calls will go to her. If anyone needed to come to your office, they would have to go through her, and she could let them know whether or not you are available. You need to be your own secretary. Go into your phone and you control who can contact you and when. If you need to, cut off all your notifications during certain times so that you can get the most value in whatever amount of time you have for what you need to focus on. Another key to productivity that we're going to talk about is email. Seems kind of odd, right? You think of all the keys to productivity, you could go through all these different aspects to being productive. You want to know something? Email is very valuable to our time. How many valuable things come to our email address? Think of this. Business correspondence. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get an email concerning business, bills, reminders, important newsletters, notifications about important webinars or events that you need to attend. All of that comes to your email. How valuable is our email to our time? You see, we get a lot of things, a lot of information through our email. Everyone has an email address. But you know what? We have this perspective towards email as if it's a nuisance or just something that we dump things into. We need to change our mentality towards email because there is so much value in email. We need to get it under control, manage it, and implement it and utilize it in such a way that we're able to find value in it. That's what we're looking for. That's what it means to be productive. And that's what we have to focus on. So please, from here on out, think about how you're going to utilize your email, okay? If you're going to break it down into folders and tags, however you're going to do it, how are you going to manage your inbox, how you're going to manage who gets your email address so that you're not constantly getting junk mail. This is what we have to be thinking about. Come up with a system that works for you and learn how to get the value out of your email address. If you can do that, I promise you, your productivity will go up. Because remember, we all have the same amount of time. and we have to find value in the time that we have. One way we can do that is by utilizing our email. So that's what I wanted to talk about with you today. I appreciate you joining me, spending the time the valuable time in watching my presentation here. I thank Carl Pauline for inviting me to present these keys to productivity that I appreciate. He's such a generous man. Honestly, Todoist that I implement throughout my productivity system. I learned about Todoist from his videos. I've spent hours watching his videos learning about Todoist. So there's so much value in the videos that he produces. So please subscribe to his YouTube channel, and also click on that little bell down there to where you can get notifications whenever he has new videos. Thanks, Carl Pauline, and thank y'all so much for watching me. Also go to my website, keepingthingsinline.com, and why not sign up for my newsletter so you can receive exclusive content to your email inbox every week. Thank you, and I hope to see you another time.